What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another episode of From the Logo Podcast. We got ZZ, Gifted, myself, Hayes, in the building today. Fellas, we are, 3 weeks into the NBA season. Teams have played around 10, 11 games mostly. The NBA Cup starting today, officially tonight. There's a lot of things to talk about, man. The main topic we're going to get to at some point is which one of these teams is going to blow it up with injuries, other things going around. But I just want, over the last week, since the last time we recorded, which was Thursday, how you guys feeling? Like anything that stood out to you, anything that surprised you over the last week of basketball?
Anthony Edwards shooting 45% from three on plus like 12 attempts a game is kind of wild. That would be my main takeaway right now. He's been insane to start his season.
Yeah, Ant's 1000% up there. But for me, it's definitely the Cavs. But for two reasons. A, because they're 12-0, give them credit where it's due. That's cool. But I feel like the reaction of some people to them is surprising for that. Because, like, think about it. I'm hearing people compare them to the 2015 Hawks. And they're doing that in kind of a trolling way, but, you know, truthful at the same time, like a little bit of both. And I'm like, like, and then there's people that are saying, you know, oh God, they're taking the league by storm, yada yada yada. They're about to go win 67. I'm like, yo, the start is great, but it ain't no 24-0, and it ain't no 2016 Golden State, and even the 2015 Hawks didn't start out this hot, and with where they ended up. So definitely the Cavs for me, and Ant shooting like 11 threes a game, confidently, arrogantly, or whatever is insane. The thing that shocks me the most about that Gifted is his lack of mid-range attempts this season compared to last season, to the point where it's almost erased from his game, damn near. Like either he gonna shoot the three or he gonna drive all the way to the cup. Either or. But mid-range is damn near out of the question, it seems like, so far through 10 games. Crazy.
Yeah, I would say for me, it's more of a hedge on the roster that they have, because with Cat being gone, you need to really account for 3-point volume. And with him upping his volume to this, high degree, it creates a much better lane for the team. I also feel like he's going to save that part of his game more in the playoffs, but I think this season is all about like really establishing the respect of his shooting, which will really make the roster around him better in my estimation.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards has been on the tear. It's good to see that Wemby's starting to wake up as well, because, a lot of people were already starting to write off Wemby. Like, teams were putting small forwards on him, forcing him into bad shots. He had a historic line. Him and Shea both had historic stat lines last night. So that's been a good thing, a fun thing to watch as Wemby starts slowly getting started. But it's been, to me, outside of like just a player or anything or a specific team, all the injuries this early in the season have been crazy.
They have, yeah.
No, it's been going wild, man. A lot of players are getting hurt. I read a report that said it might be over 1,000 games missed between all the stars this season. I'm like, that's insane to even say, but it's just where we are right now,
It's tough too, because it's like, I didn't mean to cut you off, Hayes. It's tough too because it's like it's happening to some of the guys that you're just anxiously. You've been anxiously waiting to see. You've been on the edge of your seat trying to see this year. Like Zion, for example, sucks. The growth of Oklahoma City has been stunted this year with the injury to Chet in his hip and him being out for 8 to 10 weeks. And Shea Gilgeous, they're running lineups with Shea as the tallest player. Crazy work. But yeah, it's been very tough to sit back and see. With Steph, I had a hiccup early on when he got hurt, but then the Warriors won 3 straight games and all that faded to happiness. But still, it's like, it's a problem. Ja Morant, he was going on a tear too with the Grizzlies a little bit earlier on in the season, like in that first couple of weeks span, to the point where you were like, damn, bro's averaging like 10, 11 assists a game, right? Shooting conservatively and just letting Zach Edey eat. Like, just things like that being halted with this is just tough. But hopefully we get through it and the basketball gods bless us with none but clean health for the rest of the time. But yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Pelicans, they've been completely hit crazy with injuries up and down. The Thunder missing Chet, and it came into the season already missing Hartenstein. Denver has a major injury already. Like, it's wild. And especially, like, I read an article which they talked about how these type of injuries, especially with the modern day spacing and the relying on the 3-point game, and how much less work is being done in the paint, that is crazy, the number of injuries that we're seeing. That's just the name of the game, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is literally the name of the game for all these teams. Again, it impacts so much for your team in terms of chemistry and continuity, or in some cases, an injury leads to you finding out the truth about certain players that you didn't, expect. Prime example, the Pelicans are the most hurt team in the league right now. But without this happening, I don't think they would know, okay, Brandon Boston might really be like that. He's played good basketball for them. And he could be a contract that they really look forward to in the coming years, at least if he's able to sustain his level of good play so far, because he's been good for them.
For sure. And then we got to talk about the Brooklyn Nets winning 5 games already on the season. I don't know if I thought that the
Let's
Brooklyn
talk
Nets,
about it. Let's talk about it, Hayes. I told you.
I don't know if I thought the Brooklyn Nets would win 5 games before the end of 2024 in this season. And they're doing it Gift, to me, you talked a little bit about, they're doing it through playing as a team. I thought Cam Thomas was just going to be just getting up shots. He's not. I think he's only getting 19 shots per game, but they're spreading it out. Everybody's bought into their role. Dennis Schroeder is having a god point guard season so far. I think he's averaging almost 20 points per game on 49% shooting. What the Brooklyn Nets are doing so far, upsetting a bunch of teams as well over the course of this. I don't even think any Brooklyn Nets fans had them playing this good this early in the season.
Yeah, no, I've been very impressed with how they played. I said this coming in. This year, I was going to dedicate myself to watching teams that no one's going to watch. So I've watched a lot of Nets, a lot of Bulls, a lot of Wizards. And this Nets team specifically has played with good pace. It's not just can Cam Thomas have 30 points or not. They play as a team. They win as a team. People were surprised when the Nets played Boston very close. And I'm like, that's what they've been doing all season against all different types of teams, right? They're beating teams that people have not expected. Now, I do think this is going to slow up because they're going to trade the players that are involved with that, most likely. Right. But to even see them compete like this shows to me that that's a real head coach. And you should be nervous because if they have that much cap space and they're able to get more talent in there, that program can be very, very successful.
Shout out Coach Fernandez, bro. But it's one of those things too where you look at it like Gifted said, when you get to a point with a team that you had low expectations for and they are exceeding those expectations early, you genuinely have a feeling of, okay, some pieces are about to get moved. This is great for the individual and probably the team if they're trying to, compete for capture the flag. So the expectations I have for this team are the same. Impressed with the hot start, but I remember the Wizards starting off hot 2 seasons ago. That shit was cute. Everybody knew his shit wasn't gonna last. You're putting faith in Kyle Kuzma for 82 games. You're putting faith no, bro. I'm sorry. Cam Thomas is a bucket though, certified bucket getter. Make no mistake about it. That is a fact. I remember people were saying that he was a glorified Jordan Poole, and I'm like, no, bro can score if given the opportunity. There was a game I was watching. I want to say a week and a half ago. Forgot who they were playing, but I remember it was late in the game. Might have been the Bucks, but it was late in the game. Cam Thomas made an elbow fadeaway mid-range shot, and then they end up getting the ball back for a last possession. The ball didn't even go to Cam Thomas, and I was like, "What the hell?" So it's one of those things. But he was having himself a night, so it really didn't make any sense. So there's no there's no direction that this team is going in that's positive besides drafting Cooper Flag or potentially, right? That's what their end goal is. But great start for Dennis Schroeder. You know what I'm saying? My guy once bet on himself, now has a chance to do it again, potentially, maybe gets put in the right situation.
And this time he'll take the bag.
Yeah, and this time he's gonna take. He ain't got no choice. He ain't got no choice. No choice. They give you $40 million. You take that shit.
Could you imagine if he does it again? Could you imagine if after this season he
there's no way. There's no way.
I would hope that there's no way.
No way in hell.
Could you imagine the headlines and the comedy if he does it again?
Man, that shit would be hilarious.
Yeah, but shout out to the Nets, man. But if we're talking about hot starts, we got to talk about the Cavs. The Cavs became last night with the win over the Bulls, the 8th team in NBA history to start 12-0. Let's go over some of that history. So the Sonics in the 82 season, they lost in the first round of the playoffs. The Bulls did it. They went 12-0 in the 96 season. They won the championship. In 1957, the Boston Celtics went 14-0. They lost in the finals. The Dallas Mavericks went 14-0 in 2002. They lost in the conference finals. The Washington Capitals in 1948, 15-0, they lost in the finals. The Houston Rockets in 93, 15-0, they won the championship. And then we know your Golden State Warriors in 2015, 24-0, they lost in the finals. Are we ready to say, have you seen enough to be able to say that the Cleveland Cavaliers are legit contenders? How do you guys feel about that?
Yes. And the reason why I say yes is because of the Eastern Conference and what the conference as a whole looks like. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of reevaluating teams in terms of what they do well and what they can really be. And it's not just the wins, it's how they're getting the wins, how they're playing. Evan Mobley, this is the offensive league we talked about for years with him. And it seems like Kenny Atkinson as a head coach is doing his best at maximizing everyone on this team. A lot of it starts with Evan Mobley being more of a downhill attacker. It creates more space. You don't just have two bigs who are non-spacers just being there. They're actually in more active movement. Also, the staggers are a lot more creative than what JB Bickerstaff did for this team last year. So that's why their shooting looks a lot better in spots. Also, Darius Garland being unlocked was a huge part of this as well. Having Darius Garland play at this level where I would say so far he's outperformed Donovan Mitchell, even though I still think he's not the best player on this team. Him playing at this level with this confidence as a natural point guard where it puts Donovan back at the two guard makes them super duper formidable. And my reasoning is the Eastern Conference as a whole. I mean, what else have we seen from the East? They're the only two teams in the Eastern Conference right now that are at the very least above 500. Every other team is either 500 or under 500. Actually, I think there's only one neutral team in the Eastern Conference, and that would be the Pacers right now, if I'm not mistaken. So how I'm looking at it is because the Eastern Conference is a very weaker conference. I said this at the very beginning of the season. I thought the Cavs could be a good regular season team, but seeing Evan Mobley really take that stretch really makes me have confidence in them being a true contender, at least in terms of the Eastern Conference teams. However, still early on, have to see how this progresses and the health and how that impacts things. But I like the way they're playing basketball. It looks legitimate.
Yeah.
It's the fact that they're doing it on both sides of the ball. They're the number one offense in the league right now. They're top 10 defensively. I think they lead the league in forced turnovers as well. Like, they're doing things. And keep in mind, we haven't even, like, Donovan Mitchell hasn't even had to be like Donovan Mitchell throughout most of these games yet. And so if you're able to maintain that through the season, that's another level that you can kick it into. I'm not ready yet. Here's the thing. I'm not ready to see them yet, to say yet that they're contenders, only because I got to see it sustained over time, right? That's just my thing. It's 12 games, a great 12-game stretch at the start of the season, but there's been a lot of teams injured, a lot of teams still kind of trying to get their footing. But make no mistake about it, this Cavaliers team, regardless of how you see them, like, they're going to make noise in the Eastern Conference, and they're going to go on a deep playoff run. I just don't know if I would pick them over the Boston Celtics yet, is the way that I view that.
Yeah. To answer your question about if they're contenders, yeah, they're contenders. The thing for me that I look at, like you said, they're number one in the league. They're the number one offense in the league, number one in points per game. They're also the number one they're number one team in the league in terms of 3-point percentage. The eyeball that I have is they're 24th in rebounding. So, and when you look back historically, now obviously it's 12 games. All right, so nobody's jumping the gun here. But when you look back historically at some of the best championship teams, they were usually a great rebounding team, top 5 at the very least when you look back on, especially when we're talking about both sides of the ball. Of course, they're going to be great offensively and defensively, but rebounding is one of those key elements. And for me, that was the only thing that I found puzzling. Watching them play, like Gifted said, Darius Garland has been playing at a level in which when you look at him as a point guard, you can tell how much stress he's taken off of Donovan Mitchell's shoulders when it comes to on the court, especially in the half court, even sometimes in fast break. But the ability that Darius Garland has that I love about that duo so far this season is like the ability to just be like, you know, you look at a lot of the dynamic duos that have popped up because of like big threes that were formed together or teams throwing their chips on the table over the years. And you make arguments like, well, who's a better duo? You can't name anybody better than KD and D Book or KD and Kyrie, or you know what I'm saying? Like, but then you look at other duos and you say, well, what makes them so special? A dynamic duo of Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, how they offset each other, especially when it comes to half court sets and things like that. Where Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell come into play is both these guys can get their own buckets in isolation. And when they're hot, they're on fire. They're just on fire. It's to the point where they trust in each other to the point where to being like, you know what, you got it. Take the ball off the court. Matter of fact, run the set. You got it. I'm gonna chill over here on the wing. You know what I'm saying? Like they have that capability. And then when you factor in, they got arguably the best defensive front court, maybe in basketball, but definitely in the Eastern Conference. It's a good recipe for success. It is a little bit early, right? They're 12-0. It is what it is. But just based off what we've seen so far, I think they're number 2 in point differential. Like what they're doing is just insane from all across the boards in terms of just basketball in general. So give them their respect. They're definitely contenders.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. How you guys feeling about the Golden State Warriors? Phoenix Suns have both started off the season 8-2. Phoenix Suns were a team that I think we collectively didn't feel like they were going to not win games this season, but I think they've come together a lot more than what a lot of people have expected as well. When you look at the 2 runs between those two teams, which do you think has been the most sustainable when you look at those 2 teams in a level of play?
That's a good one. I mean, it's a tough one because for me, looking at Golden State, right? Like going into the season, this is a true story all my life. Like maybe 4 weeks ago, I was playing basketball with one of my boys, and he's a Mavericks fan. So ironically, tonight's going to be insane. But I remember telling him, look, don't be surprised if the Warriors, I literally said verbatim, do not be surprised in the first 10 games if the Warriors are 8-2. And then today I checked and saw they were 8-2, gave him a call. I was like, hey, yo, run me my bread. But at the same time, the fact that I had that much confidence in them just from preseason alone, I told you, I don't put stock in preseason. Y'all know that. We don't put stock in preseason. But if a team goes undefeated, nigga, take notice. Just so if they just so if they end up in a situation like where the Warriors are right now, nobody had them as a number 2 seed in the Western Conference, you can say at least you saw the writing on the wall in the preseason. You took note of that. The Warriors are the deepest team in basketball. Nobody thought that was going to be the case, especially going into when you coming off the offseason where Klay Thompson leaves. And then you look at the team financially and what moves they were able to make in the offseason, and you say to yourself, well, damn, Klay Thompson gave him a little bit of leverage here to give us Buddy Hield, to give us DeAnthony Melton, to give us Kyle Anderson, to be able to go 12-man rotation and have some sustainability. And then when you factor in Steph Curry getting hurt earlier, like I mentioned, the Warriors went 3-0 in that stretch, including a game in which Draymond Green held Zion Williamson to 5 of 20 shooting. Draymond Green. And ironically, that was the most shots that Zion's ever missed in a game. A game before, the game closest to that was also against Draymond Green, against the Golden State Warriors. So Draymond is doing phenomenal things on the defensive end. On the offensive end, the fact that you can have trust with Steph Curry being out of the lineup, I mean, damn. Like Buddy Hield is having a career year. He's averaging like 20 a game, 50% from the field, shooting insane. Like just filling, because in the Warrior system, you can unlock things that weren't being able to be unlocked elsewhere, i.e. Andrew Wiggins. Career year, wins a ring, second in finals MVP vote, and all because of the Warrior system and what it allowed him to do. So for me, the Warriors has been easily more impressive. Maybe there's bias, whatever. The Suns has been pretty solid. We all had stock in Tyus Jones. We all had stock there going into the year. So Kevin Durant being a part of that injury bug sucks, but Phoenix has still been finding ways with their rotations and figuring out like, okay, let's put D Book in this role. We saw what he did in the Olympics. Mans can adjust. And then Bradley Beal still be able to find him minutes. I mean, they figured out something that is enough for them to be able to be a high win team. And shout out to Coach Bud, literally. I never doubted that man and his capabilities of what he can do with a team.
If only the Milwaukee Bucks had a coach like Coach Bud.
Right. Crazy work. Yeah. Crazy work. But what they got, Dumb and Dumber, Doc and Darvin Ham, chilling on the bench. Hands in pockets. Shit is insane.
I think the Suns have played more competition. You could argue, but I think the Warriors are more impressive. And what I mean by that is when you're playing without Steph Curry, it's not just that you go 3-0. It's the margin in which you did it. They played the Pelicans twice back-to-back with no Steph. I get it. On the second game, more players went down for New Orleans, but they had Zion, they had Brandon Ingram. In both games, they got blown out twice. The Houston game to me was the biggest game of the season so far outside of the Boston win. And obviously the win we just had against OKC because they were up 30 points in the game. They went down by 1 point in the fourth quarter with a couple of minutes to go, force overtime, win the game, and they are still able to win the game. I think the biggest difference is last year our defense was not consistent.
Yep.
We had role players that were not providing great value, i.e. Dario, who looked good in the first 3 months of the season and it completely fell off. That could still happen theoretically. But the defense for us consistently in all these games, win, lose, or draw, whatever you want to call that, outside of the Cleveland game where Ty Jerome hit 3 walk-up threes, I'm going to throw that out.
Crazy work.
Because I was crazy shooting from the Cavs. But outside of that game, Golden State has had a very good defense. Right now, they're second in the league in points per possession on defense. They have the number 2 defense in the NBA, and they have a top 6 offense in the NBA as well. So if you told me headed into the season that through the first 10 games, this would be them, I would say, well, it has to be because of Terry Stotts and also Jerry Stackhouse. What these assistants have done for Golden State to revamp their offensive and defensive philosophy. And this team still has flaws, like all throughout the roster. I still see it even in these games. Yeah. But the fact that they're playing at this level where Steph hasn't had to, go off too crazy just yet. He had his strongest MVP performance versus the Celtics and probably Oklahoma City. But in terms of having to play at that level every single game, he hasn't had to because their defense really, really carries them. So I like to see that. The Suns are a good shout, though, because, I think a lot of people looked on paper and said, okay, Booker, Kevin Durant, maybe Beal plays more. Sure, they'll be better. But the impacts of Dunn and more people, we've just seen very good things from them.
Yeah. Not the gift. You also left out the Warriors are number 2 rebounding team in the league or number 1 rebounding team in the league.
They were number 1 for a while there. They may be number 2 now, but like that and the what Buddy Hield has given that team as well has been absolute. The consistency.
Only had 2 games without 20, bro. It's crazy.
Him and Norman Powell both have hit such leaps this season.
Norman Powell, get it, bruh. Matter of fact, cut Ben Simmons check, give it to Norman Powell, please, because
it's been crazy.
Bro has been on demon time. Bro, what's up with the Mavericks? What's going on with the Mavericks?
Mavs are up and down. I think a part of it is Luka hasn't had the strong start to the season they're looking for. In the last game, Kyrie had easily one of the best games of his career, especially as the Dallas Maverick, but it came down to, I would say, Luka Ball. I think they're going to figure it out. It's a long season, but there are some positive trends I see from them as well. So it takes time.
It takes time. I knew the defense was going to be a problem. And to be honest, I know you were high on Najee Marshall. I am too. I saw him explode the other night when they played. Who did they play the other night? My memory is just lost. But he exploded in that game, and I was like, okay, his offense there's a way that he can plug that into their system. But the defense isn't going to be able to make up for lineups with Klay, Luka, and Kyrie on it. I'm sorry. Kyrie can be as active as he wants. Luka can move his feet as fast as he possibly can, and Klay Thompson can move as fast as he possibly can at this point in his career, and it's just not going to make a difference. At the end of the day, the Mavericks are a team that I fear, and I say this with so much respect for Luka and Kyrie and Klay, and maybe Jason Kidd, but
Jason Kidd is funny.
I fear that they're going to end up being a team that needs to outscore you, kind of like Brooklyn in 2021 or when they first put together the big three. Like, they need to score 120 points in order to and need to have great fourth quarter production out of their guys in order to win these games, in order to be able to squeak by. Or if they play a team that's, inferior and Luka goes out there and drops a 30-point triple-double at halftime like he did on the Jazz last year.
See, like, it's funny that you say that because they're the 7th ranked defense right now in the league. I just think it's moments where you see the lineups and it's like,
Yeah,
oh, that's a bit rough, So it makes them a weird team to certainly evaluate all the way through during the regular season. Also, we've seen Lively already miss a couple games here or there too.
Lively
So
too.
you know,
Lively's big because I know some Mavs fans. They want Derek Lively on the court more than they want Dwight Powell. I promise you. Like everybody
always.
wants Derek Lively on the court more than they want Dwight Powell. Actually, but yeah, I'm rooting for him. I want to see Lucas succeed. So it is what it is. So Hayes disappeared for a second, but
He'll be back. Yeah,
he'll be back. I think his computer died probably. We're gonna get into the title topic soon. But is there any team chat that what's the team that shocked y'all the most this year outside of the Cleveland Cavaliers? That's a dead giveaway.
I mean, it's got to be the Bucks for me. I didn't think they would be this bad.
Good or bad. This is bad.
Yeah, I'm just dude. Like they have been awful. Mm-hmm. Guards are averaging like a 63% true shooting against their defense. Mm-hmm. 2-8 start is awful. Only I think only 12 teams have started out 2-6, I believe. No, sorry. Only 2 teams in the history of the league have started out 1-6 and made the playoffs. So they're already under scrutiny because of that. There's no timetable on Chris Middleton. They're experimenting with playing more Ajax, which is good, but then he didn't play more minutes in the halves of the game, and they wound up still losing the game. So it's a bit rough, man. Like they are free eats against a lot of these teams in the league. And it's dangerous because Embiid comes back today. So they're going to be, having to really find wins here now. Truly.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No. Yeah. And Dame is out right now.
Right. And that was what I was about to get to. So the Bucks are in the Bucks are in an interesting spot for me because it's like, this is a team, I believe they're in the second tax apron. So the fact that they're there, they're very limited on what they can do in order to improve the team outside of Giannis and Dame. As far as mid-level exceptions and all that shit, like they are very limited. The fact that the Bucks are out there saying, "Hey, look, we're open to trades," and then they're like, "Everybody but Giannis and Dame," though. I'm like, What? How much value can you find in Taurean Prince? How much value can you find in? Is Jake Crowder still there? Like how much value can you find in Pat Connaughton? They're not looking for Bobby Portis. Ain't nobody even searching for Brook Lopez, 36-year-old ass. Nobody care. You're gonna have to run up off of Giannis and Dame. The fact that Giannis also told them long ago that when shit starts to go left, he will be looking for greener pastures. I got to give Giannis credit. I got to give him credit for that. Like, I can't lie to you. As much as some people would like to be like, Giannis messed this whole thing up. They fired Adrian Griffin. They wanted his brother, yada, yada, yada. I was like, you know what? You right. But he did tell him, if shit go left, I'm out. So no matter if he did it himself or they did it.
I mean, to be fair, he never said he was going to be out. He said that he's focused on winning, and as long as he thinks that they're trying to win, he'll stay. But he definitely left the window open to leave. I just don't think it's realistic for them to trade Dame or Giannis this season. I don't know the value.
I don't think so.
No, I think they're going to see this through, which makes it a bit more dangerous because they don't really have picks left for value. They don't really have high-level role players who are going to net them such a dramatic return. Also, no timetable on Chris Middleton just makes it very, very hard. Right. So it's like, I don't know, man. It's weird.
They're in such a tough spot. And to the Adrian Griffin point that people are bringing up in the chat, yes, bro, Adrian Griffin, I'll stand on it till I die. The fact that he was 30 and 13, and I believe, if my memory serves me correct, second in the Eastern Conference at the time of his firing. And people said that it was because of the defense of the Milwaukee Bucks. So this is what I got from that. Fuck the fact that this is the first-year head coach and he's 30 and 13 and they're second in the Eastern Conference. Forget that. They can't play defense. Forget what he did in 43 games in his first year as a head coach. They can't play defense. That's what I got from that. It's almost as if Chuck Daly was head coach, that would make these niggas like, no, like nobody's moving. It's the players and the talent that they have is what they have at their disposal that can make or break a great defense. Effort and what they have at their disposal. So then the alternative to go from first-year rookie who was 30 and 13 to Doc Rivers And then 2 years or a year and a half later, with Doc Rivers and Darvin Ham both sitting over there scratching their bald spots and trying to figure out what's happening, it's just mind-boggling to me.
Ain't no ball spot. They just ball.
Mind-boggling. But yeah, it be what it be. Bless me.
Yeah, I find this so hard because people are going to point to the 30-13 because they haven't played well since then for the most part. But I stand on the take that he was not a good coach either. He wasn't. I watched those games. The amount of games where they were literally in a dogfight with very bad teams. I will never forget. They were down almost like 25 points against Portland. And they come back and win the game. So it counts as a win. So, oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, but they were also playing very bad to mid teams in that same stretch. When they played good teams, they lost pretty badly in those same spots. My issue is firing that coach and going to Doc Rivers next. When you're looking at the roster and there's younger guys, right? Beauchamp, to me, still had a chance to be something. I think that's kind of out now. Ajax is a player that I was saying last year should have been getting more minutes anyway to prepare for this season. Because I said after they trade for Dame, based off how this roster looks, I don't think the Bucks are serious. Y'all heard me say this all year last year. Like, listen, the Bucks are cool, but I don't really trust this roster. And to be fair, Giannis and Dame were injured in the playoffs. We get that, all that stuff, cool. But the point is, you needed to have a coach that was going to be more flexible at being open to different styles on offense and defense. Doc has not been that. Doc is not a coach that wants to give younger players a chance. He'd rather employ and play old-ass veterans. That's kind of what it is. And now they're in a position where if they fire Doc Rivers, their head coach is Darvin Ham, who's also not a good coach. It's just not good process. And they have old-ass Chris Middleton, who said before the season, I'm not injury prone, and then proceeds to not play a single game yet. If that's not injury prone, I don't know what is. And they have no picks because they traded all the picks for Dame. So all in all, it's just a dumpster fire in many different ways than one. Their one saving grace is they have Giannis and have Dame. But, bro, I said this when they made the trade. Like, y'all keep saying Giannis, Dame, pick and roll, Giannis, Dame, pick and roll. They don't even have great chemistry to be what people think of them to be. Like, Giannis and Dame have had great games in the same game this season, but their chemistry – yeah, they still lose in spite of that. So it's not enough.
Yeah.
It's just a bad basketball team is what it is. They're bad. They look old. They look slow. Chris Middleton isn't going to come back and save them at all. Like it's I'm not want to say it's done 10 games into the season, but it's about as done as it can be. And when you look at Dame and Giannis, it's not like individually that they haven't still been putting up their numbers. They have been. So you can't even necessarily look at them and say, well, maybe they'll come. Like they've been playing well per them getting their numbers. Like the team, the whole team as a unit is fucking trash. That's all it is.
No, facts. That's facts, though. That's the best way that you can really look at it. And to both of y'all's point, I made a video on it the other day. The fact that people point to when I look at the Milwaukee Bucks and what they tried to identify and establish themselves as post 2021 and even leading up to their championship year, right? You look at them in the last four or 5 years, and you think about constants, things that they have kept. Giannis, Middleton, at one point Drew Holiday, Bobby Portis, Brooke Lopez, Pat Connaughton, right? They invested in their core. They invested in their core to the point where they thought, you know what? We're going to lock down Bobby Portis and Brooke Lopez for what they did in that 2021 run. We're going to make sure Giannis is comfortable. We're going to keep Chris Middleton, keep him comfortable. We're going to keep Drew Holiday comfortable. And then people that have pointed to Drew Holiday and the reason that they traded for Dame, saying, okay, well, did you see what Drew was shooting in the postseason last year? Yada, yada, yada. I was like, dude, Drew Holiday, the only reason he had to shoot that many damn shots is because Chris Middleton was there barely half the time. So when you look at it and you say, why did he shoot so many shots? That's why he got traded. Nigga, who else was going to shoot them shots? Pat Connaughton? Who else was going to shoot them shots? If I'm a Bucks fan, coach, front office, VIP, yeah, Drew, you the second option tonight because the original second option is not here. And like Gifted said, gonna sit there and talk about something. I'm not an injury-prone player and hasn't played a single lick of basketball in the last 3 weeks. So The Bucks locked themselves in this situation, and then to trade Drew Holiday, a guy that was giving you your best perimeter defense year after year after year, a guy that was your go-to option when it came to guarding opposing guards, you let him go because you said, "Hey, Dame might be able to give us 9 threes on any given night." And to Gifted's point, there's been times this year where Giannis has 42, Dame has 31, and they lose by 6. And it's like, shit wasn't enough. They don't have, like Hayes said, they don't have anybody that can take that next step to help anything. And they also don't have confidence or trust in Chris Middleton to play basketball for them. And so they're stuck in this situation where it's like, all right, well, who do we have tonight? Okay, great. And Darvin Ham and Doc Rivers, the dynamic duo of the decade, is what they have at the helm of that. Recipe for failure.
I got some numbers I want to read off, man.
Go ahead.
Y'all know me. I'm a numbers guy. They are this is funny. Their differential this year, they are a minus 7.4 as a team. Just in general. Period overall, regardless of the lines, they're a minus 7.4. Their offense, with Giannis and Dame dropping 30-point games, all this and all that, they have a 111.6 points per possession. That would rank 20th in the NBA. Their defense ranks 26th in the NBA. They give up 119 points per possession. So they're giving up more points per possession than they generate on offense. Their offensive rebounding percentage, terrible. Their turnover percentage, terrible. Like it is a thing where if you can't force turnovers, you give up threes, you can't generate a consistent offense all the time, and you don't play no defense, you're going to lose. And so far, that's what we've seen. Now, I'm waiting for this to see what happens when they reach a breaking point, when they realize we're really not that good of a team. It's still, doable to come back from this because that's how bad the Eastern Conference is right now. Again, all these teams outside of 3 teams in the East right now are either under 500 or neutral. That's it, right? So they theoretically have a chance to still make it there, but it looks bad, man. And the fact that Dame and Giannis have already missed games early on and they're losing with them or without them, it's a problem. It's a problem. If I can't rely on Dame to play 65 games or Giannis can't play as much as he normally does, then they're going to be a very compromised unit, man. Truly.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And you got Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce saying that it's clear Doc has left the team. Jeff Teague on his podcast. Did y'all see Jeff Teague completely?
I heard the conspiracy, bro. He had the best conspiracy take, and I'm so happy you brought that up. Right? He said that I feel like Doc don't give a fuck about this team. And I think that he's at a point where he chose to sign Darvin Ham because he felt like he feels like Darvin Ham didn't get a fair shake in LA. So he's there for his paycheck and he knows he'll get fired. So when he gets fired, the job can now go to Darvin Ham so he can get a fair chance. Like he's saying he not caring about X's and O's. He's doing it as a friendly, thing because he feels bad for Darvin Ham, even though he's the one that took another coach's job within Adrian Griffin.
Yeah.
Funny.
And here's the thing. I agree with that because when you look at Doc Rivers and his past, he has a checkered past as a head coach, as a president of basketball operations for the Clippers. In that
it's definitely colored.
And then you see Austin Rivers is in New Orleans, I think at the time, putting up donuts and shit and getting benched and getting more and more minutes taken away from him, on the verge of leaving the NBA until Doc Rivers says, I want my son in a Clipper uniform. Make it happen. And then that results to virtually nothing in terms of what he did for the Clippers. But still, Doc Rivers and the ability to put people in spots, that is something that I agree. Yeah, facts. He's on the one there. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess that leads us to the title topic today, man. There are a number of teams.
Real quick before you get to this, we got a $20 super chat from Mitsu. We appreciate it. W show, where do y'all want to see Giannis at? We actually never discussed that because I think we all can't see a Giannis trade happening in season. But where would y'all want him to go if he was able to move? It's a good question.
I know some Warriors fans that said they want him. I said, nigga, don't fuck this lineup up. I don't need none of that. I don't
I'm trading all these niggas for Giannis. You tweaking. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, you should.
What?
You talk? Will you let Jonathan Kuminga stop you from getting Giannis?
I'm trading.
No, I'm trading. JK go.
I'm trading the fuck out of B-Paz. I'm trading the fuck out of Kuminga. I don't care.
As long as I get to keep Buddy Hield, I'm straight. Personally, maybe Andrew Wiggins too. I'm straight. Everybody else, you're right. Kuminga at this very point in time, hey, you on the chopping block? You right? Don't get me wrong.
I'm trading all the picks.
Let me keep Buddy Hield. Because I need two options for Giannis when he driving downhill to kick the ball out.
I'm trying to look Hayes in. It's Hayes. I'm trading the dog shit, bro. Because like the amount of Warriors fans, I'm saying like, oh my God, the Warriors, they should trade for Cam Johnson. Yeah, let's get another role player on a team that is deep, but to me is fake depth because B-Pods is fucking Ben Simmons light. He's a Ben Simmons variant, if we being so honest. Jonathan Kuminga is like a Farmer Jack version of, I'm gonna say, Julius Randle. Like there's a lot going on with this team, and it's working out right now. So I'm not gonna shit on them completely, but I know what the ceiling is with this team. Regardless, they still need another guy, and I'm telling you, Giannis, Draymond, and Steph Curry playing basketball together. Like, listen, Steph will actually let Giannis cook. Steph doesn't have to dominate the ball, all this and all that. Giannis doesn't have to be a great screener and go to state because Draymond does that. So he can just be like the roll man, the off ball guy, or if he pressures the paint, corner pass. So I'm fine with that. I would share for Giannis. But in terms of where he would be best at, is that Golden State to you though?
Yeah, I would say so. Go. What you think?
I'm telling y'all right now, if Giannis Antetokounmpo goes on the free agent market, there's no team that can match the offer that the OKC Thunder could put up for Giannis.
Oh, okay. I mean,
OKC.
Right. He's not lying. OKC.
You talking about the Milwaukee Bucks, who are never a free agent destination, who have none of their own draft picks. I don't think the Milwaukee Bucks don't own their own first round pick outright.
They don't own anything.
2031. Yes. 2031. So you're talking about all the young talent as well that the OKC Thunder can throw in that trade is also, and the draft picks. It's literally exactly what the Milwaukee Bucks could possibly hope for and dream for.
And it's like, are they trading Jalen Williams? Like, see, that's my other thing. OKC got so much damn picks and young talent. Are they trading Jalen Williams, or are they saying actually we're good, which is crazy, but they have the roster and picks to say that.
Yeah,
they do.
Wow.
I'm just saying, if he, and they're not going to trade. Giannis would literally have to go to the front office and be like, "Get me the hell up out of here." That's the only.
And I just can't see Giannis doing that, man. I really can't see Giannis doing that in season. Off season, sure. In season, I don't know about that.
We'll see. The OKC Thunder have a possible 6 first round picks in just this draft.
Crazy, bro.
That's crazy, bro.
Crazy work.
A team that's already one of the best teams when they're healthy in the league, bro. That's wild.
Insane. So,
but as far as the Warriors, hey, we have a slightly used Nikola Vucevic to offer you guys.
Oh my God, I've actually seen him play basketball. No. I want to give Vucevic some credit, which is rare for me.
The best season he's had in 5 years.
Offensively, this is the best. Listen, they expected this Vucevic years ago. Mm-hmm. Now, defensively, he's still ass, but offensively, you've been putting in some good work. I give you that. But appreciate the super chat, Mitsu. Let's get back to the show.
All right, let's get back to it. So there's a number of teams right now hovering between either less than expectations or just have the roster that's set to blow everything up. We got the Pelicans, who all the injuries there, we knew coming into
Jesus Christ,
moving Brandon Ingram was probably going to be there. He's the last man standing. There's nothing but a Brandon Ingram showcase. Everything's a Brandon Ingram showcase at this point.
And he's played well.
He's done nothing but to help his trade value, reportedly, if that's what they end up looking to do. Of course, the Miami Heat and the pending Jimmy Butler thing that people have overarching, watching whatever they decide to do with Jimmy. There's a lot of teams that have a chance to kind of blow up their roster because it's just not going the way they were going to. Or you have a team like Brooklyn that's exceeding expectations. And I say after about 30 games, be on the lookout. They're trading everybody because they're going to try to make sure they're in the flag sweepstakes. Who do you guys think is the most likely to blow it up between now and the trade deadline?
Ooh, see, this is tough because one would say the Brooklyn Nets because it looks like that team just has a bunch of players that are there for the fire sale. Mm-hmm. So I want to say Brooklyn off tops. I really do. But the Pelicans are interesting because it's like this is the third year of them just not being healthy. And again, they traded all these assets to get Murray. He gets hurt game one. Yeah. Game one of the season, like I feel bad for them because even if you don't think that this is like a really good team, the fact that they haven't even had the time to see what it could be, like they're that team where it's like, damn, they're hurt, but you know they got some talent. Like if they had a year, they could maybe, overall get things going. Zion still has yet to play a playoff game. Mm-hmm. The closest thing we get to it is a play-in game where he's dominated, but gets hurt at the end of the game, ironically. So it's hard to give you the like direct answer, but if I have a gun in my head and I have to choose, I'm probably leaning Brooklyn just because they have all of this cap space in the offseason. They control their own destiny this season. They're looking good right now. They're raising the price of some of these players more than what it would have been. So they have the out to actually just tank the season after this. And we see a lot of smart teams do this where they compete early, get their fan base super invested, then they really sell off. And it's funny because every Brooklyn Nets fan I talk to is mad that they're good. They all want to be ass. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's them. So that's my pick.
And I think also, like, we got to acknowledge at some point too, has Ben Simmons actually started looking like a basketball player?
No, we're not doing that shit.
We're not. You're not. Okay.
Look, I watched. No, listen. I watched all the games. Like he's one of the fakest players I've ever seen in my life, bro. No bullshit. Like the way that he be getting these assists where he pass it and they do all the shot creation, but it's within 3 seconds, so he still gets the dime is crazy. The way he don't look at the rim, despite being right at the rim, still is crazy. But he's at least making a case for them to not have to involve picks because of his expiring deal. So I'll give Ben Simmons that at the very least.
Yeah, I don't put stock in Ben Simmons anymore, nigga. If you can't shoot, you don't belong. That's just how it is. I'm sorry.
Tough, man.
I will say though, props to, where it's due. He had 12 assists the other night, like 5 steals or some shit like that. So he's playing, he's had some good games, but
sorry. I gotta stop because I gotta get y'all back. So I was live on Chicago Bulls Central the other day, shameless plug, and somebody mentioned that the Bulls should trade for Ben Simmons, and I was just like, "You're crazy." And I will go and pull the clip while y'all talking because it's from my channel. I'm not going to copyright it, but the dude legitimately with a straight face tried to convince us that Ben Simmons is as good as Bill Russell. And I literally almost lost my absolute shit.
What?
I'm dead. I will go find the clip, bro. If you see my reaction,
it's just so random. Why are you saying Bill Russell? What the fuck? No.
Wilt Chamberlain was a better passer than Bill Russell.
Yeah, like listen, it's not just dumb, but it's like of all the players you comparing them to gas them up.
Yeah, Bill Russell.
Bill Russell?
Bill Russell, bro.
Who was an actual rim protector? Ben Simmons still isn't a rim protector even at his best.
Yeah.
That's just weird.
And then when I pressed him about it, he says you got to stop looking at stats and you got to use your imagination. I said, "You're talking about imagination?" I said, "All right, I'm done with you, bro."
No.
Like it was. You know how like you have some of those conversations every it should only happen a couple of times a lifetime. Yeah. But you have those conversations and you just literally look at somebody and you like, "Oh, you're just a fucking idiot." Like this is really what
there are times in life where you would be talking to someone and for like a split second, you can be as good-hearted as person you want. For a split second, you're like, this is why natural selection is necessary. Now you don't say that. But it's definitely something you think about in your head. Because I'm just like, I'm sorry. The fact that he told you stop looking at stats, use your imagination, sir. You are still not saying watch the reality of what he is. You're saying use the imagination to paint what he is. It's kind of crazy. What up, Bama?
That's what we think nuts. He could be. That's the thing I hate. I hate when people are like, let's just project. Ron did that shit live in Indiana. Nigga talking about some Trae Young, which to Ron's credit, what's up, Bama? to Ron's credit, in the context of our conversation, it made sense. But at least to an extent. But I was like, yo, people that project out with their stuff. I'm like, come on, now we gotta
bro.
reel into what we've seen.
I gotta share this. I was so flabbergasted. I took a screenshot of it and posted it on X. I just gotta share this so everybody knows I'm not capping. Okay. Rewatch Bill Russell games and you'll see exactly that is exactly who Ben Simmons is. But again, you lack a little imagination on this one.
Nah, bro. I just
or you have too much of what are we?
What is he on? What is Brody on for real?
Bro, he said, "Brody, nah, that's code. That's code. Y'all don't know. Y'all ain't hip." He's basically telling you, Hayes, I'm tripping on shrooms right now. So my thought process.
He crashing out for real.
And I am actually actively, literally using my imagination.
Little Brody crashing out, man. I don't know, man.
Hey, that boy was on Puff the Magic Dragon, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But yeah, man, I don't. For me, I think the first team to blow it up would not by default be Brooklyn, just because we know going into the season what their expectation is for the long haul. But to get this point about the Pelicans, when I was looking at the thumbnail before the show, I was like, of course, I've talked about the Milwaukee Bucks, but the Pelicans are an interesting one because they, like Gita said, are in a situation where you look at them literally and you say, damn, if they were healthy, bro, just imagine what they could be. And it's like, we haven't seen Zion play a playoff game. Brandon Ingram, they've been in a strange relationship with Brandon Ingram for the last 2 years, right? Then you factor in them bringing on DeJounte Murray. And my thought process is you don't have a big man, but you want to go small ball. You think that you're the Warriors, but you're not. You think that Herb Jones or Zion Williamson could legitimately play the 5 at small ball in a small ball lineup. They can't. Draymond becomes more underrated by the day with shit like this for me, because I'm like, Draymond's the standard for what you need to do or what you need to bring to the table at the 4, at the 5 for someone that's undersized, understands the philosophy of the game, right? Like how to read the offense when you're on the defense, where everybody needs to be, how the rotations need to be, who needs to slide here, what passing lane to bite on, like all of these little things, how to crash the glass, like all of these little things. The Pelicans are essentially, to me, like when I first heard they were doing that, I was like, yo, they don't know what they're doing. They're just trying shit. It's like, all right, we got DeJounte. We got DeJounte, Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum, Zion Williamson, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones. We got Jose Alvarado if you want to. Let's just throw everything out there and see what happens. It's not a sense of logical direction for me. And with that being the case, because you don't know who's going to stay healthy come April, you might be if they hit the panic button, I wouldn't bat an eye. I'd be like, y'all tried it. I don't know. Now, as far as what piece needs to move first, it would be Brandon Ingram, because that's the one they've been sitting on for a while. And then maybe you try one more year of Zion and with whoever you can bring in from that. But I don't know, man. They got a lot of question marks for me. But if I had to say one, Brooklyn for sure. Watch out for New Orleans.
I'll say this: the team that I'm looking for to blow it all up, and this isn't, I don't think the common teams that will go to, but you always have a team that kind of sets the market first. I'm looking at 2 teams: the Portland Trail Blazers and the Utah Jazz. These are both teams that have pieces on their roster that teams could be looking to try to take a shot at if they're trying to increase. Like you look at Portland, they got Anthony Simons. They came into the season. There's reportedly that they want to come out the season trading one of, if not both, of Anthony Simons and Jeremy Grant. You can also throw in Robert Williams if he can ever stay healthy, and DeAndre Ayton. Those are 4 players that are on the trade block that I can see a team, whether it be a younger team that wants to get rid of somebody or whatever else, could take a shot at those players, especially Anthony Simons or Jeremy Grant, for a team looking to make a playoff run. And then flipping to the Utah Jazz, Walker Kessler, Jordan Clarkson, and maybe even Colin Sexton are all players as well that I can see teams trying to be in on before the trade deadline. And I think that those teams could be the first ones to make a move to set the tone for the market. And then we're going to start seeing teams like the Pelicans and the other teams, the dominoes start falling at that point.
That's not a bad team, honestly. I'm curious about what ZZ thinks about that.
About the Jazz?
Yeah.
or the
the Jazz have been in that mix of teams for me where it's like I'm kind of waiting on them to do something drastic when it comes to exploring just how many assets or tradable assets they have at their disposal.
And they can't trade Lauri Markkanen this year at all. So
right,
it's not even
right. And Lauri's name was floated around all offseason, just like, and to the point where me and Gifted were like, I don't care. Like if you don't trade for him, whatever, let him stay.
Yeah.
So yeah, Portland is one team that I haven't even thought of that much really because host Damian Lillard, they've been trying to go.
Nobody should be thinking about Portland.
Right, of course, unless you live there. Shout out Haley.
Yo, where's DeAndre Ayton going? Because
dominating.
I'm trying to let my boy Clinton get some minutes, man. For real.
Oh, facts, big facts. DeAndre Ayton needs to make his mind up of what type of NBA player he want to be. Because goddamn it, Phoenix fans was tired of it. Portland fans, man said, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna be over here dominating, and I like it here already." Ain't done shit. Virtually more of the same, if not worse. But it's not anything that's eye popping. It's not anything that's helping the team.
Portland could have got a much better. If Portland took the Heat trade package, they would have got way better assets to me. But
so they're just Utah is in a spot of like I don't want to say purgatory, but like they're in a spot where you're just waiting on Big Danny to make a move. But outside of that, Portland, I don't know if they want to continue on the path of the DeAndre Ayton era. I don't know what is going to happen with Scoot. Hopefully he, improves a little bit more. But and then of course Anthony Simons is there chilling.
I do think it's important. We got to start being a bit more hard on him. Scoot Henderson is still very young, so I'm not gonna have some huge take. I will say this though: people were clowning Michael Jordan for drafting Brandon Miller.
Yeah,
and Brandon Miller's been far better than Scoot. Yep. And I think at the very least, because I promise you, if Brandon Miller was playing like Scoot Henderson and we saw Scoot, they would be clowning Charlotte. They would be clowning him. We're not doing that with Scoot as much.
Facts. That's facts.
I'm just saying.
Hey, listen. Scoot gotta. Listen, I don't know. Like, he's not even starting for that team, and I know they're probably waiting. They're probably trying to showcase Anthony Simons and whatnot. But like, it was supposed to be Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe was supposed to be you locking in your backcourt for the next however many years.
They got Jay Anthony this year, bro. I don't see the point of taking a player like Scoot this high up to say you still want to build around Anthony Simons. And don't get me wrong, Anthony's a good player, but he can't be one of the league's worst defenders next to Scoot Henderson as a long-term build. You just can't do that.
Makes me think, what if Bronny was there?
Oh, no, you did not think that. You never thought that.
What if Bronny was there? How different would it be?
He wouldn't even be playing on. I'd be quiet.
No, but get the right though. We do gotta shed light on Scoot. And
I'm just saying.
Not even the Brandon Miller thing. Like I remember people saying, he should have been the number. Like all of these different things. Like they were just hyping him up as to where he was the best draft prospect of the class, and anybody that missed on him, it was an issue. I was like, bro, calm down. Like now we're seeing it play out live in living color. It's not the. I don't know what it is from that media day press conference where bro was smoked up there. I was like, I don't even know if bro taking this shit.
Allegedly.
I don't know if you're. No, it wasn't alleged. They got the best dispensaries in the world up there. Y'all missing out.
Man.
Scoot
well, shit. Now I ain't missing out. Scoot taking it all from us. This nigga's going up to press conferences, zooted.
No, the whole plant is crazy.
The whole plant.
But all right, let's flip the script. The Miami Heat. There's been a lot of talk about Jimmy Butler and, of course, the crossroads. It feels like we've been talking about it since about midway through last season. Like we all saw this coming. Let me ask you this: does Jimmy Butler finish the season in the Miami Heat uniform?
Yep, sure does. And I think after the season, that's where it'll really be a question. I don't know what they trade Jimmy Butler for. I don't think it's the Heat way to really make a trade unless it's for a star player midseason. And I don't know what star player is being swapped for Jimmy that is either better than Jimmy or makes more sense for the roster. So I think he stays. But Miami's been mid. But Tyler Hero's been great. He's been very good. So I'll give him that. Also, I'm sorry. We can shit on Jimmy. I got no problem with that. But Bam has looked like a Tyler out there, man. I'm sorry. Under 40% from the field, Like, I thought this would be the breakout year for him. And again, it's still super duper early. He can maybe fit into the system better, but he has not looked great. Their best player offensively has been Tyler.
Yeah. The Heat are, I mean, they're just in a – it's so weird to watch them too, because I remember Chilltown was talking about how, in a hypothetical world in which Jimmy Butler gets traded, they build around Bam Adebayo. And I said – I don't know if building around Bam as your number one option is a sustainable option, because we haven't seen his game fully unlocked. There's certain things that you want to see more consistently from him on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, there's no question. But on the offensive side of the ball, there isn't enough things that are unlocked for me to even entertain the thought of him being a number one option. And when you look at going into this season, even back in the Olympics where he was knocking down corner threes, the thought was great. Right? Oh, what if Bam becomes more consistent from three, becomes a three-level scorer, yada, yada, yada. And that's not, as we've seen so far through, it's only 10 games, but it's not something that's been sustainable and or consistent. So for me, Miami still has a lot of question marks there. They're a team that if they make the playoffs, you can't really bet against 100%, maybe 92%, but it's like it's like they can pop off if given the opportunity. Shout out to Tyler Hero for what he's been able to do there, but they're going to have to rally around an identity defensively. If they can tap into that side of it, that'd be great, because offensively we already know what to expect, like pretty subpar production out of Jimmy, especially in the regular season, and then Bam in the regular season. It might go up in the postseason, so they might coast like they are accustomed to doing. But you look at the team overall, they're 22nd in points per game, 18th in rebounds, 17th in assists. So they're a team that you can't really identify what they're good at, and they're above 500 or game below 500. So it's tough. 10 games in, of course, but Jimmy's going to have to turn something up, and Bam's going to have to be more consistent.
Agreed.
I think Bam's slide completely changed what their plans could have been, right? Like if Bam came into the season playing great, maybe they would be more apt to moving Jimmy Butler. But when you have Bam, who's your next player to possibly build around, he's having his career lows in everything. We're not just talking like weird, bro. In everything. Yeah. We're talking about 38% from the field, the lowest of his career. 18% from three, the lowest of his career. His efficiency numbers, his true shooting percentage, everything, the lowest of his career. While his usage is like the third highest of his career. Bam right now is playing like cheeks. We just got to talk about it. Yep. And overall, like he's been one of the players that's been hurt the worst by Miami trying to figure out this new system or whatever they're trying to do. Like it just isn't working. So if your plan was to see if Bam's a player that you can build around, the answer, at least right now, has to be a resounding hell fucking no. Yeah. Not at all. Now, of course, Bam's a player that you can build with, but that's a mistake that a lot of franchises make, is going after or trying to build around players that are players you build with, not players you build around. And that's that's a mistake that I just don't know if Pat Riley's going to make while Bam is playing this bad. And so we'll see, man. I don't see it's going to happen. Even players like Jaime Jaquez, who showed some things last year, he's having a down season so far. So maybe it is just the offensive system. But right now, it's just not good. And then Khalil Ware looked absolutely great in the preseason in Summer League. Why is he getting 6 minutes per game? What is happening here?
Not to mention that, like, it's just so weird. Like, not to mention the fact, for me, like y'all talked about, like I said earlier, they don't have an identity. Jimmy Butler ranks 4th in attempts per game on this team so far. Bam Adebayo shoots more than him. Terry Rozier shoots more than him. Tyler Hero shoots more than him. That is a problem. What the fuck is going on? Bam Adebayo, like you said, he's shooting like 14 shots a game. 38% from the field is atrocious. 18% from three is Russell Westbrook. And then 67% from the free throw line is, I mean, you are not even serviceable on offense. What the hell is going on there? So they got to figure out who's going to lead the ship, who's going to shoot efficiently, and who's going to get the most shots. So they got so much shit to figure out over there. It's insane.
Yeah. It's true.
We'll see. We'll see. Any other candidates or teams you guys think could blow it up between now and the trade deadline?
Shoot.
I'm trying to think in my head right now. We already talked about pretty much all the main teams with the Pelicans, all this and that.
I need y'all to bring it up.
Bulls.
Thank you.
Bulls.
Yes.
Bulls.
Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic are playing their best ball.
You know what? Yeah, I forgot about
Yeah.
No.
I forgot.
I just saw that it's Bulls so much. It's like, you're right though.
That Zach LaVine issues y'all got to figure out. I feel you.
Yeah, he's playing pretty well. I mean,
this is Zach LaVine on pace to have his first plus season as a defender ever in his career. That's locked in. Zach LaVine is playing really good. We're talking about when they switched last night. Zach LaVine on Donovan Mitchell, and no, I'm not saying that Zach LaVine's always some lockdown defender. He's not. Yeah. But Donovan Mitchell went 3 of 11 when Zach LaVine was guarding. Like, that's how locked in Zach LaVine has been defensively. And so I think that Zach LaVine, for a lot of the questions coming in, he's playing some of his most efficient basketball. He's locked in defensively. He's deferring to teammates when he needs to. So a lot of the questions that people had last year when Zach LaVine was on the trade market, he's answering those at least right now. Now, the contract's still a thing. He's already missed 3 games with injury, so that's still a thing. But I think Vooch and Zach LaVine have done enough. And I know you guys don't follow the Bulls day in and day out, but it came out as well like 2 days ago that the GM's plan is to allow 30 to 35 games and then shop Vooch, maybe even Kobe White and Zach LaVine by the trade deadline.
I'm assuming you think that's too long.
Yeah, I'm just ready for it to be over with. Just
okay.
Kobe needs to stay, but I'm just ready for the Zach LaVine saga and the constant talk around it to just be over with. And Vooch is a 34-year-old center who's having his best season in a while, but like he has 1 year left on his deal. The Bulls have been so strucken by not taking advantage of players where their value is at its highest. I think that they have to do it this offseason if there is value out there.
I think the one good positive thing too is like, because again, I've watched this team a lot. They compete with a lot of these teams. That Cavs game, they were close to being the first team to actually break the streak. And I gotta say, Josh Giddey and Kobe White are figuring out how to work together as a backcourt. So it's like, I feel like once Zach goes, you can experiment with the lineups more, which I'm cool with, honestly.
Yeah, y'all got to get that shit figured out. And
yeah.
If I was still a Bulls fan, I would just be like, damn. My biggest question would be, when are we moving off of Zach? That would be it. Because it's one of those things where it's bad, where you start to feel bad for the player, the organization, and the fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's when it's bad. Like Klay Thompson, for example. I was like, this nigga bet on himself, didn't work out so well. You can see it's affecting him on the court, which is affecting the team, which is affecting the organization, figuring out how much money they're going to pay him, which in turn affects the fans for how they're going to view if he deserves money or not. All of those things come into play. But when you get to that point, it's like, damn, somebody got to do something.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Well, the NBA Cup starts tonight, guys. So before we get out of here, we got a couple of more minutes. The NBA Cup. We don't really have time, and we can go by group if you guys want to. But are you guys excited about the Cup? I came into last year not caring anything about the NBA Cup play, and it actually started being some competitive games. And when the knockout round started, they actually were really, really competitive and fun. So you guys excited about the NBA Cup this year?
Yes, I am. I'm currently watching Heat and Pistons on my third monitor right now. Fun. Yeah, I am excited. I think that the energy between a lot of these teams is going to come back out. So it is going to make the games generally more interesting. I still wish it was like some more real stake added to it to even enhance it further than this, but it's cool. It's cool. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah. I'm happy for it. I love the NBA Cup. I thought last year the most exciting games were the NBA Cup games. And my question is, are the Lakers going to repeat? And if they do, what is that going to do for LeBron's legacy? That's my biggest question.
What does it do for LeBron's legacy?
The first repeat NBA Cup champion?
Only player this old to actually win an in-season tournament.
The oldest NBA Cup MVP.
Right.
That's exactly how it's going to be talked about, too.
Yeah, bro.
That's crazy.
You know it.
Do you guys have a team that you feel most confident coming out of this tournament? Because keep in mind, it's not necessarily about the better team. It's the tournament, who can get hot, things like that. How you guys feel?
What if it's the Cavs, bro?
That would be so lit. The Cavs were just so dominant. They just won all through before and then during the tournament.
Yeah. And then the cherry on top would be they win the in-season tournament, right? They keep the hot streak alive. And then after winning the tournament, they fall off like the Lakers did last year. You remember?
Oh, that would be
the Lakers won the tournament.
I do remember that. And
like
remember
immediately. And we was all like, ha ha, but y'all put that motherfucking banner up, right? Yep. Good shit.
I can't believe they still had that whole ceremony for the banner like that, bro. Like,
Nah, that was hilarious. I'm not gonna lie.
that's just
That was funny.
I'm gonna tell y'all right now, dark horse to win the tournament, and it's because it's a tournament, not because I think they're gonna like do something crazy in the playoffs. Look out for the Charlotte Hornets. I just like
Charlotte's gonna be a very fun in-season tournament team for sure.
Yeah, they in-season tournament. I think they could be a very fun team to watch in this in-season tournament. And then I also say another dark horse to look out for is the Houston Rockets. Well, I don't even know if you call them a dark horse at this point, but I think the Houston Rockets can make it in the tournament as well.
They could.
Possible.
Yeah, the West C group though is going to be crazy. What?
Oh yeah,
C group in the West. You got the Denver Nuggets, the Dallas Mavericks, the Pelicans, the Golden State Warriors, and the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm not worried about the Pelicans, but those other four teams, you can make a case for any four of those teams coming out of that group.
Very much so. Very much so. I do want to point out right now the Pistons are up 10-0 early on the Heat. Should be a very fun in-season tournament game. Make sure to tap in. They're hooping right now.
That's crazy.
Awesome,
so, what you processing something over there, ZZ? You look like you're thinking about something.
No, I'm looking at my phone. I'm looking at the games.
Oh,
I think the Cavs are fun. I like the Hornets shout. Honestly, I would give a shout out to the Pistons. I would. They look like a more improved team now. They still struggle with actually closing out the games in the fourth quarter. But from wire to wire, they've been easily one of the more competitive teams in the league. And I think the young teams that don't really have much to play for in terms of like championship or playoffs can use the tournament as added motivation to structure what a playoff run will look like. You know?
Yeah. Man, it's just wild to me that the Pistons have more wins than the Bucks, the Sixers.
Still, baby, 10 games in, they still got more wins. Let's talk about it. Let's really talk about it, bro. Who better, Kate or Dame? I'll wait now.
Talk to me.
Hey, man.
Are having some uncomfortable conversation.
I don't know. K may be better on that Milwaukee Bucks team than Dame is on that.
Oh,
team.
hell yeah. Hell yeah. Imagine letting that Now, let me ask y'all this question. Because we was talking about the Bucks and blowing it up and Giannis and Dame and they have to make moves. The question, like Hayes said, none of us believe that they're gonna make moves on them two this year. But why is that? Giannis is gonna be complicated. Some shit gonna have to move around. But Dame, who wants a 30?
I don't think Dame gets traded either. He's making too much money this season to get traded too.
Who gonna want that? To be all due respect to Dame. All due respect. Who wants a 34-year-old?
Miami would take the fuck out of Dame right now.
They would, absolutely.
Right now, they would do it.
They would.
They do it yesterday to get Dame right now on their team.
Yeah, shit. Dame probably, because to be completely honest with you, the Portland Trailblazers got more wins than the Milwaukee Bucks right now.
That
Dame want to go home. That nigga Dame want to go home. He said, damn, Scoop playing like that, y'all still got more wins? I'm putting up 30 and losing at home, on the road. It's a sideshow attraction. Hear ye. Watch Giannis drop 40, drop 7 threes and lose. It's an attraction at this point. Y'all want to see Brook Lopez? I saw Brook Lopez the other night had 1 point at the end of the game. I was
brother.
And he started.
Yeah.
Team is a
listen, it'd be like that.
Team is a joke. Coach is a joke. Assistant coach is a joke.
The franchise is a joke. It's all a joke. All right, fellas, man. Anything left before we get up out of here?
Yes, I just want to say again, shout out to the Bulls. I've had a lot of fun watching them. I hear a lot of Bulls fans crashing out.
Fun bad.
They've been fun bad, bro. Yeah. Listen, Josh Giddey and Kobe White be taking over. Listen, that Hawks game was so fun. Oh my God! If y'all ain't seen it, go watch that Hawks game. The way they was fighting, that was fun to watch. So yeah, go watch more Bulls.
If y'all watching the Boston Celtics and Atlanta game, why does it look like they're playing on a tennis court right now? What is the floor design for the Boston Celtics, and why does it look like I should be looking instead for Jason Tatum, Serena Williams? Why does that?
I'm sorry. I just saw a crazy ass Cade block. This game's getting crazy, but yeah, man, we'll be back on. Yeah, sure.
Last thing, I just saw this on. If y'all can see,
All right, it's time to go ahead and give this time to wrap it up.
You gotta back it up. That's actually insane how it's easy. Make sure to tap into this show for the logo. We be live on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We back Thursday to recap the Cup games and some more NBA stuff. I'm Gifted Hoops. I just dropped the podcast about the Wolves. You can follow me on YouTube at Gifted Hoops. More NBA content and stuff on the way. I'll be live tonight on playback for all the games as well. So there's that for me.
ZZ just crazy.
That was insane. Yeah, that's funny.
We want to thank you guys for tuning in, man. We'll be back live on Thursday, as Gifted said, man. Love you guys, man. Go enjoy basketball. Actually, watch basketball. Don't watch the box score because some of y'all stupid. But love you guys, man. We out. Peace, y'all.
Goddamn Bill Russell for Ben Simmons. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Diabolical.